For number 3, you can look at the picture there. It says x plus 2 is one equation, and the other one is this y squared one. So if we type that into graph it, x plus 2 I can type in. I can't type in y squared. So I need to solve for y by itself. So to do that, I've got to square root to get 4 minus x. But remember, anytime you square root it, we got to do the positive and the negative version. So 4 minus x, I'm going to graph that as one of them, and then I'm going to graph the other one as well. Second square root, negative, second square root, 4 minus x. Let's graph it. My picture should look like what's already graphed. Good, it does. It's giving me that same parabola on its side. Okay, so this time, since I have a y equals, or since this equation is going this way, it's going to make more sense for me to integrate it in terms of y. So as I do my setup here for my integration, I'm going to integrate it from the bottom to the top. So I need to know what that value is there and what that value is there. So I'm going to second calculate the intersection point. I want to find where these two things intersect. So moving my cursor down to here, hit enter. My cursor now is up top. I'm going to hit the down button to bring it down to where I want it. Enter, yes, enter. It intersects at -5 to -3. Since it's a y problem, I now want to know what the y value is. I want to know that value. So in this case, it's that -3. So I want to evaluate it from -3 to I want to know the second, calculate the intersection point up here. So I'm moving my cursor up to that spot. Enter, enter, enter. My intersect is at 2. So I'm going from -3 to 2. Now I'm not doing top minus bottom anymore. I'm doing right minus left. So for either of these equations, I need to get y by, or I need to get x by itself. Since I'm integrating in terms of y, I'm doing a dy problem. I need to get x by itself. So for this one, to get x by itself, it's going to be y minus 2 equals x. And this one, it's going to be y squared equals 4 minus x. So to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract 4. And then I'm going to have to get rid of the negative. I'm going to have to change my signs. So when I set up my integral, I want the right equation. This is the right equation. That's this curve right here. So I want to start with the negative y squared plus 4 equation. And then I'm going to subtract the second equation, which is this line right here, the left equation, the 4 minus x. So minus 4 minus x in parentheses. Okay, so now let's type that in. So math 9. I want to integrate this from -3 to 2. And now my equation is the negative y squared. Well, I'm not going to use y. I'm going to use x. I don't have a y button that works there. So negative x squared plus 4 minus that whole thing in parentheses. 4 minus x in parentheses. Close it. dx. Enter. There's my answer for that one. Negative 14.167. I had to integrate it in terms of y. Same thing for our last one here on number 4. Find the area bounded by those curves, and it does say solve it in terms of y. So again, let's graph it to see what's happening. I'm going to save you me typing it in, so hang on. So I have my two equations typed in, the square root of 2x, that's this one, and x cubed divided by 2, it's that one. Let's graph it. So I've got a teapot graph there, along with an S-curve. So if I were to draw this picture, I've got this teapot looking graph here, this red graph doing this thing, and then I've got this blue one going up like that. So the area, the bounded region is there, and it does say solve this as a y problem. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this. So I'm going to hit zoom in and just cheat and see if that works for me. So that's what I have drawn here. I'm going to integrate it in terms of y it asked. So I'm going to go from the bottom to the top. I want to know the y values as I set up my bounded region. Okay, so I'm doing this in terms of y. So I want to find, second, calculate the intersection point. First curve, second curve, guess. Yeah, it's right there at 0 like it looks. So we're going from 0 to this place right here because I'm going this way up to there. I'm going this way up to the top. So second, calculate, intersect. Move it to right there where they intersect, enter, enter, enter. I want the y value, so I want that 1.74 number. Since it's a decimal and I don't want to round it, I'm going to store it as a. So a is going to be equal to that 1.741 number. So remember what I do. I'm going to store it, and I want to store the y value. So you need to make sure you hit alpha y. I want to store the y, and then I hit the store button right here. I want to store that as a. So when I'm using my calculator, I can say, hey, do it from 0 to a. The next thing I got to do is decide which equation. So we're going to set this up, math 9. I want to go from 0 to a. I want to type in this case, the right equation and then the left equation, since I'm evaluating it in terms of y. So in this case, the right equation is the one, the S-curve graph. The blue curve is to the right. So I want to start with this one. And again, since I'm evaluating in terms of y, I need to get x by itself. So I'd have to multiply by 2. And then I would have to get rid of that cube, so I'd have to cube root both sides. So that's the first equation I'm using, the cube root of 2y minus. I want to solve this one for y. I'm running out of space. Sorry, this is getting ugly. I'm getting getting x by itself. So y equals the square root of 2x. I'm getting y by itself, so I'm going to square both sides and then divide by 2. So y squared over 2, that should be a 2 on bottom, equals x. So that's what I'm doing second, minus y squared over 2. So that's what I'm going to type in. So the cube root. So I can do a few things here. If I hit math, the math button, and then math number 4, so that's this button right here, the math button. Math number 4 of 2y. So I'm going to use the x minus y squared, so x squared divided by 2 dx. Type it in, hit enter. It's going to take it a second here. It's figuring it out. My answer is 1.0. We'd round up let me rephrase. 3 decimals, so I'd have to round up both of those, so 1.100 would be my answer to that question. Make sure you understand what's going on.